we're inching closer to the release of what might be Disney's biggest headache of the year, Snow White, an incredibly expensive project that has been surrounded by controversy from the start, and Disney is well aware of the backlash. In fact, they're taking noticeable steps to control the narrative as the release date approaches. According to an exclusive report by the Daily Mail, some major decisions have been made behind the scenes. One of the biggest revelations? A planned UK premiere has been completely cancelled, shut down entirely. No explanations, no postponements, just gone. On top of that, Disney is reportedly restricting press interactions and tightly controlling what Rachel Zegler can say in interviews, limiting her responses to avoid any further backlash. It's almost as if Disney has become hyper-aware of just how much of a liability she has become, a problem they didn't seem to recognize a year ago. But now, she's done. It's hard to imagine her working with Disney again after this. The controversy surrounding her comments has only amplified the negative buzz around the film. What could have been a conversation about casting choices has instead spiraled into a PR nightmare, thanks to her dismissive remarks about the original movie, criticism of the prince's character, and even alienating a large portion of the audience. With political statements, few actors have derailed their careers as quickly as Rachel Zegler. And yet, here we are. Let's take a closer look at what's happening behind the scenes. As one of the most anticipated and expensive films of the year, it would only make sense for Disney to roll out the red carpet for Snow White. However, according to the Daily Mail, Disney has reportedly decided against holding a high-profile UK premiere for the film, fearing backlash over the movie's controversial changes. A major production like this, skipping a star-studded red carpet event is unusual, to say the least. But the reason seems clear: avoiding difficult questions. A red carpet means journalists, flashing cameras, and plenty of opportunities for actors to make headlines, something Disney can't afford right now. Take what just happened at the Oscars, for example. Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler were paired together to present an award, and despite their limited interaction, the tension between them was hard to miss. While neither addressed it directly, their body language spoke volumes. It's not surprising, considering their stark ideological differences. Zegler has been an outspoken advocate for Palestine, while Gadot, an Israeli actress and former IDF soldier, has publicly expressed support for Israel. While Gadot has maintained a professional demeanor throughout her career, Zegler has developed a reputation for being outspoken, critical, and, at times, confrontational, especially on social media. Given Zegler's history of clashing with people and fueling controversy, it's not hard to imagine that tensions existed behind the scenes. Whether we'll ever hear about them is another question. But with all the drama surrounding Snow White, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. Most audiences don't seem interested in seeing this film at all. At this point, it's clear. Snow White isn't getting a red carpet premiere, and it's likely because Disney wants to avoid putting Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot in the same room with the press. It wouldn't go well. The real question now is how the press tour will play out. Will they be sent out separately? That would be the smartest move. If Disney puts them together, it'll only fuel speculation about the obvious tension between them, something that was already on display during their Oscars appearance. Normally, a $212 million live-action remake of a beloved classic would get the full red carpet treatment. Lights, cameras, the works. But instead, Disney is opting for a much quieter approach, skipping a major UK event altogether to avoid potential backlash. Instead, there will be a limited number of tightly controlled press events. And that's the key detail: tight control. Why? Because of Rachel Zegler. Over the past couple of years, she's repeatedly stirred controversy with her comments, alienating audiences, and making headlines for all the wrong reasons. And despite the backlash, she hasn't learned to dial. Her recent failure in Y2K only reinforced what many already suspected: she lacks real star power. She was the lead in that movie, yet almost no one showed up to watch it. Disney clearly knows the risks of letting her speak too freely, which is why they're taking extra precautions with Snow White's press rollout. But at this point, it might be too little, too late. It's honestly embarrassing. Rachel Zegler talks like audiences are lining up to see her, claiming she's the next big thing. But the reality couldn't be further from the truth. Case in point, when she appeared on camera at Madison Square Garden, the crowd had zero reaction. You know that had to bruise her ego. According to an insider who spoke to the Daily Mail, Disney is fully expecting an anti-woke backlash against Snow White and is taking drastic steps to control the media narrative. They've reportedly cut down the press schedule to just a handful of carefully managed events, a highly unusual move for a film of this scale. That's also why they've scrapped the London premiere altogether and are severely limiting press access to Zegler. Notice something? They're not limiting Gal Gadot's interviews, just Zegler's. That's because Gadot knows how to handle press interactions professionally, while Zegler has become what many now call a walking PR disaster for Disney. And it's not. Hard to see why. She's repeatedly made headlines for all the wrong reasons, calling Snow White scary as a kid, labeling Prince Charming a stalker, and dismissing elements of the classic story that audiences love. That kind of attitude didn't just annoy fans, it outright enraged them. So, as Snow White inches toward release, Disney is playing it safe. No major premiere, at least not in the UK, and a heavily controlled press tour. There will likely be something in LA, but don't expect a grand traditional red carpet event. As for the interviews, expect Zegler to sit down with a carefully selected host, someone who plays nice with Disney. Every question will probably be pre-approved, and there will definitely be a list of topics that are completely off limits. At this point, it's all about damage control. But will it be enough? I guarantee you, someone has had a serious talk with Rachel Zegler. She's been uncharacteristically quiet lately, especially since the election. This is the most silent she's ever been. It's almost as if someone put the fear of God into her and told her, "Keep your mouth shut." And honestly, she probably will. At least until Snow White is out of Disney's hands. Once that happens, expect her to start running her mouth again. Whether it'll be about Disney specifically, who knows? But one thing's for sure. Disney likely has her locked into multiple NDAs, trying to prevent her from bad-mouthing the film or the studio after its release. Not that it'll make much of a difference. This movie is almost certainly going to bomb anyway. Disney, of course, is doing everything it can to minimize the damage. Just yesterday, they released an acoustic version of Waiting, On a Wish, a song from the film. And to be fair, her voice isn't bad. The problem isn't her singing, the problem is the movie itself. And, well, her inability to stop saying things that make it worse. Disney is in full-on damage control mode, even going so far as to hide replies to their posts, something they've been doing more and more lately. But if you check those hidden replies, you already know what's in there. The backlash isn't going away, no matter how much they try to suppress it. Anyway, that's pretty much it for now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and if you haven't already,